All right, the last thing I wanted to cover today, Stephen Amell. T3 says, yeah, I don't see any movies going back to filming anytime soon. Yeah. Hey, subbed on Kick. Thanks. I got to figure out how to get the Kick chat in here. That'd be great. So, yeah, we've talked about the strike, in the past. Last week, Henry was asking when I think it's going to end. I don't see it ending, anytime before like November, to be honest. But Stephen Amell last week was taking some heat for a comment he made on the strike. Now, he says it was taken out of context, essentially, but let's see what he said.
Striking. I don't. I think that it is a reductive negotiating tactic. I find the entire thing incredibly frustrating. I do not support striking. I don't. I think that it is a reductive negotiating tactic. I find the entire thing incredibly frustrating.
So he ended up coming out and doing a long post, very long post on Instagram. Essentially, he's all about the workout routine here. He essentially went into detail about what he was saying. My friend was at his Q&A. We missed him, but wow. So he was like, I overall, and I got to say this first. This is where TikTok can be dangerous, right? Like, hypothetically, I don't think it was in this case, but hypothetically, let's say he said an entire paragraph worth of information. People will chop it to get the important parts out. And because you don't have the full context, you just hear that one part and you're like, oh, he hates the strike. He must not support the SAG strike, where that may not be what he's saying. However, he came out and he said that, first things first, I support my union. I do, and I stand with them. This doesn't need much clarity. My support is unconditional, and I stand with them. And he keeps leading off with what I actually said. And then number 2 here, I won't read all of them. I'll just get to number 2. What I actually said. 2, I do not support striking. I don't. And then he says, well, this means in full context, I understand fundamentally why we're here. My off-the-cuff use of the word quote-unquote support is clearly contradictory to my true feelings and my empathetic statement that I stand with my union. Of course, I don't like striking. Nobody does. But we do what we have to do. So he continues on, and then he even goes into the comment section as well. Look at that. Inside of you liked it. So definitely take a read there. He also, on his apology tour, went on TMZ.
I understand the strike on an intellectual level. Striking is not the only form of negotiating. And if there's a positive thing to take away from this, and believe me, Harvey, I'm searching for the positives right now because the past day or so has not been the most fun. If there is a positive here, I would like to think that in some way, shape, or form, I can encourage people to get back to the table and negotiate. I think that, again, one of the silver linings that come out of this is I'm going to get the opportunity later today to speak with SAG leadership, to show them how much I support them and want to stand with them. But just because I agree with, I love my coworkers, I love my wife, and I love my kids very much. That doesn't mean that I always agree with the choices that they make, but I will never, ever leave them in a time of need, and I won't do that to my union.
That's a tough one. So, to me, right, this is, the whole thing's an attempt to, like, clarify what he meant. And I feel like, you say you don't like the idea of striking. Cool. But you know what? In a case like this, with all these other, the writers, the actors, it's like they don't have a choice. At a certain point, you're like, they don't have a choice. And I think what makes him look bad is it's almost as though one could assume it's almost like he's saying we should negotiate, we should go to the table, but do not strike in an attempt to negotiate. Now, on the one hand, of course, yeah, all these people aren't making money right now because they're on strike. But on the other hand, some of them weren't making money anyway. So it's like the only way to try to get things moving is to strike. And if you're a part of this collective, you're going to have to agree with, you're going to have to just roll with it. You're ganged in. You're like honestly, like he's ganged into the gang of the actors union. And if they all say striking's the only way to get what we want, you got to just agree with it. You got to roll with it. If you want to keep working with these people, if you come out as the person trying to be on both sides of the fence at the same time, the only thing that's going to happen is your nuts are going to get cut on the fence. That's it. You can't try to appease the production studios, the movie studios, and the actors to try to be like political about it. Not going to work. Sorry. Before that, Dre said it sounds like damage control. Yeah, he's trying. Patrick says, I get him, but I also don't get him. I agree with you saying they have no choice as they are on the closest extreme with causing physical harm. They are on the closest extreme with causing. Explain. I think I might be missing something there. Let's finish this clip off.
I know there's been a lot of criticism from the outside. I'm curious whether other actors have contacted you privately to express a similar sentiment.
I've got an extreme amount of support. A lot of people that have reached out. A lot of people that have been quiet, but I woke up this morning to 60 plus text messages from people. I'm not going to say who they are. And they support the union too. They really do. But we live in a time right now, and I don't want to wax too poetic here, where people want you to vote as long as you're voting for their candidate. I think that this has been done in a very black and white, all or nothing sort of way. And I'm talking about shows that were and movies that were about to come out before the strike. And I'm speaking specifically about shows that, I and a bunch of other people pour their heart and soul into that happen to be coming out within a certain window after the strike. And, I don't think that some of the consideration that was given to other projects leading up to the strike and the delay of the strike was given to some of the projects that came on the other side. And that's something that retrospectively, I should have done a better job of taking up in private with the leadership of my union. Okay. People that I greatly respect and admire.
I feel like he's not helping his case. I feel like he's not helping the case. If I'm going to use a sports analogy here. I'll go with basketball, right? LeBron James. Let's say LeBron James let's say the basketball union or the basketball player union or association, I think they're called. Let's say they decide that they want to strike. And it's because they're not getting paid enough. But then you have somebody like LeBron, right? LeBron, let's say his contract is you get paid up front. Or, he's getting however money he's getting now. He's like one of the highest paid athletes, right? Let's say you have somebody like him being like, no, we can't strike. Don't worry. Just let the games keep going. Let's keep getting paid, and we'll figure it out as we go. He's making his like whatever millions per game. The regular player is like, no. Like, I only make pennies per game. Like, I know I'm going to keep getting paid to keep playing, but if I keep playing and the negotiations keep getting delayed, I'm still going to be where I am now, if not worse, as time goes on. But LeBron's like, no, don't worry about it, dude. You'll make it, because he's making like millions. Stephen Amell is working on, I know he does Heels, the TV show, which people seem to like a lot. I have to check it out. But he's a star of that show. So, like, if you're working on, I don't know if you saw him with that specifically when he gave that example just now, but if you're working on that show, getting paid, I mean, you're the star. You're assumed to be making some of the most money on that show. Of course, you have no issue with the show still being released if a strike is happening, because you're making some of the highest money in that production, in that field, while the other people are not, and that's why they want to strike. So you almost have to roll with the person paying the least. Like, that's who you need to like side with and be like, what do you want as the mic holder or whatever, the boom arm operator? Like, what do you want to do? You want to strike? Great. Writer of the show, what do you want to do? You want to strike? Cool, I'm with you. Because they don't make the same money you do. So they don't, you know, if you're like, oh, no, keep working, you're making the high money anyway. For them, keep working in some cases means making pennies. So they're like, F that. I don't want to freaking work with that. So I think he does more harm than good with explaining it. I feel like part of PR these days with people is learning when to not say anything and just let it roll. Be like if you say something messed up, don't try to clarify. Just let it go. People will forget. But I think he does more harm than good with that one. Oh, he won't stand outside physically. Exactly. I see what you're saying now. Someone should have proofread his script for this interview. Yeah, I hate TMZ, by the way. Watch some copyright strike me on that. Is the haves and have-nots in the acting guild? Yeah. Definitely use ChatGPT. Yeah, it's crazy. But I love the comments. You know, he did not save the city. You know, he became the villain, all that stuff.